Welcome back to Well Focus. If you have just joined us, the time now it's 15 minutes after the hour 6, and I'm with you until the hour 7. My name is Nkosinati, the King Jeff Mabunda, and I'm standing in for my colleague, Mr. Jonathan John T. Lungu. And in our first story for today, the Minister of Human Settlement, Ms. Thembi Simelane, has today briefed the media on the outcomes of the National Home Builders Regulatory Council investigation into the building collapsed into the building which collapsed in George in the Western Cape in 2024, and we know that the collapse of that building killed about over 30 people who were working on that construction site. And earlier on, the minister briefed the media, and this is what she had to say.
Presented its capabilities during the registration phase. Amongst other things, it failed to declare its intention to construct a multi-story building. This omission, by its very nature, breached the NHBR policies, which require transparency regarding a home builder intended project scope with regard to the test of the technical capacity as to whether, as an entity or a company, are you able to build? Have you ever built a project of this nature, size bigger or smaller? So by passing this rigorous process, a company in question compromised its registration and certification of the project. With regard to the enrollment certification process, the enrollment process demonstrated significant non-compliance with the NHBRC enrollment procedures, resulting in critical regulatory breaches and unauthorized approvals. For example, the enrollment forms were processed on the 11th July 2023, even though the construction date was scheduled to start for the 19th June or had already started on the 19th June 2023. Again, the officials did not verify that a home builder was registered to construct, despite the building plans showing that this was indeed a multi-story building or a multi-story enrollment. Thus, a contractor was allowed to proceed with the construction of a multi-story building without the proper enrollment process for a multi-story building. Even more disturbing was the unlawful use of other officials' credentials to enroll the first phase of the project. This actually demonstrated the breakdown in NHBRC internal processes. Just to elaborate it a bit further, the process is designed technologically in such a way that each and every person has a code to approve a particular process, and you are supposed to approve it to move to the next. In this instance, one used the credentials of the other to approve and pass the certification process, which we find to be very irregular in terms of subverting our own internal control measures and systems. Let me touch on the inspection model. The inspection model carried out by NHBRC personnel on the project were marked equally by several lapses and failures that significantly compromise the regulatory oversight required for such a large-scale project. This included an official conducting an initial inspection.
Yes, and that was the Minister of Human Settlement, Ms. Thembi Simelane, giving an update into that investigation which was carried out by the National Housing Regulatory Council of South Africa, where they found various breaches when it comes to what resulted into the collapse of that building in George, and unfortunately losing several lives in that collapse, which also the chairperson of the National Housing Builders Regulatory Council saying that the families of the people who perished in that tragedy are yet to receive a judgment. And Well Focus continue after this with our first audio guest, and that is Mr. Collins Sadibe, the chairperson of the portfolio committee on rural development, land reform, as well as environmental affairs here in the Mpumalanga legislature. Don't go anywhere, stay focused.
Lokuhle FM is a positive-minded, well-rounded and action-oriented generation. We aim to deliver value to listeners, advertisers, employees, shareholders and the public by offering a conducive radio platform on which everyone grows in their fields in a manner that exceeds their expectation. Advertise with us today. Let your brand never be the same again.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Well Focus. If you have just joined us, the time now it's 20 minutes after 6, and as always, you can join in all our social media platforms and interact with us, share our stories, like our stories, and tell us what you think we can do better, just to give you services which are the best stories here on radio. And we are moving on to our first audio guest today, and we are trying to link up with him. And while we do that, stay tuned. I will be with you just after this.
Your answer to entertainment and empowerment. Lokuhle. Inspiring content.
Yes, as we try to link up with our first audio guest, we know that this